Several global pharmaceutical companies have scaled back their operations or exited India in recent years, despite the country being a major market and a key manufacturing hub for generic drugs. The reasons behind this trend are multifaceted and involve a mix of regulatory, economic, operational, and market-specific challenges. Some key factors contributing to this exodus or reduced presence are pricing pressure and government regulations. Price control mechanisms. The Indian government has implemented stringent price control measures on essential medicines through the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority (NPPA) and the Drug Price Control Order (DPCO). This has forced pharmaceutical companies to sell certain drugs at capped prices, often below what they deem profitable. In particular, essential medicines and life-saving drugs fall under price control, limiting profit margins for companies. Generic competition. India's strong focus on promoting affordable generic drugs creates intense competition, which, while beneficial for patients, compresses profit margins for multinational corporations, MNCs, selling patented or branded drugs. Intellectual property, IP, and patent challenges. Patent protection issues. India's IP laws are less favorable for big pharma compared to Western countries. The Indian Patent Office has denied or revoked patents on some drugs based on public health grounds, invoking provisions like Section 3(d) of the Indian Patent Act. This provision prevents evergreening, a practice where pharmaceutical companies make minor modifications to drugs to extend patent life. Compulsory licensing. India has granted compulsory licenses in some cases, allowing local companies to manufacture patented drugs without the patent holder's consent. This undermines Big Pharma's exclusive rights and ability to control prices on innovative products. Operational challenges and supply chain issues. Inconsistent regulatory framework. India's regulatory landscape for pharmaceuticals can be inconsistent and difficult to navigate for MNCs. Delays in drug approvals, frequent changes in policies, and state-level variations in enforcement make it challenging for global firms to operate smoothly. Quality concerns. In recent years, some Indian pharmaceutical companies have been flagged by regulators such as the US FDA for compliance and quality control issues. This has affected the reputation of India as a reliable manufacturing hub, prompting some MNCs to reconsider their reliance on the country for production. Supply chain complexities. The logistical and infrastructural challenges in India, including cold chain management for biologics, have also contributed to operational difficulties. These issues can add to costs and affect the timely distribution of medicines. Profitability and market dynamics. Low returns on investment. For big pharma companies focused on patented and branded medicines, the returns in India are often lower than in developed markets. India is predominantly a generic drug market, where companies face stiff competition from local manufacturers that can produce and sell at much lower prices. This makes it hard for MNCs to justify investments in R&D-heavy patented drugs. High volume, low margin market. While India has a large population and growing demand for healthcare, the market dynamics focus on high volume, low margin sales. This model can be unappealing for big pharma companies that rely on premium pricing strategies in other regions. Litigation and compliance risks. Litigation with local firms. Big pharma companies often find themselves in legal disputes with Indian generic drug manufacturers over patent issues and intellectual property rights. Defending these cases can be costly and time-consuming. Regulatory compliance burdens. The Indian regulatory system has become more stringent, and companies must comply with multiple standards and frequent audits. The complexity and risk of non-compliance have made some global companies wary of expanding their operations in India. Focus on other markets. Shifting focus to emerging markets. Some big pharma companies are redirecting their resources to other emerging markets, such as China, Latin America, and Africa, which offer better profitability and fewer regulatory challenges than India. These markets may also have better protection for intellectual property and higher margins for branded or patented drugs. Consolidation and strategic realignment. Many big pharma companies are restructuring globally, focusing more on innovative therapies, biologics, and specialty drugs. As a result, they may divest or scale down operations in markets where generics dominate or where the regulatory landscape doesn't favor high-margin products. COVID-19 impact and global supply chain adjustments. Globalization of manufacturing. The COVID-19 pandemic exposed vulnerabilities in global supply chains. Some companies have moved to diversify or relocate their manufacturing hubs to reduce reliance on any one country, including India, where disruptions due to the pandemic affected production and export schedules. Increased localization requirements. Some countries, including India, have imposed or are considering localization requirements that favor local manufacturers or require MNCs to partner with domestic firms. This adds to the complexity of operating in India for foreign companies. Pressure on clinical trials and research. Regulatory hurdles in clinical trials. India has tightened regulations around clinical trials in recent years to protect patient safety. While these regulations are important, they have led to increased costs and delays for pharmaceutical companies conducting clinical research. As a result, some MNCs have shifted their clinical trials to other countries with more streamlined processes. Examples of big pharma exit or reduction. Novartis sold its generics division, Sandoz, in India to focus more on innovative and specialty medicines. AstraZeneca and Pfizer have scaled back their manufacturing operations, particularly in areas like generic drugs. Sanofi has also taken steps to reduce its footprint in India's branded generics market. While India remains a key player in the global pharmaceutical landscape, particularly as a hub for affordable generic drugs, the challenges of operating in the country, ranging from regulatory issues to pricing pressures, have led some big pharma companies to either exit or scale down operations. Many are focusing on more profitable markets, prioritizing innovation over generics, or seeking partnerships with local firms to navigate the complexities of the Indian market.